The Memphis Grizzlies needed three-point shooting for the 2019-20 season. In search of a sniper, they turned to Marko Guduric, the versatile Serbian who shot 47.7% from downtown the prior season in EuroLeague while playing for the Turkish giant Fenerbahce. Guduric grew up during the NATO strikes on Serbia. He remembers hearing sirens that the planes and their bombs were coming. Innocent people died because of politics and whatever, Guduric said. That was my childhood. It was a difficult time, but I survived it. Although his first years in life were far from comfortable, Guduric wouldn't change his childhood for anything. The 2002 World Championships made Guduric fall in love with basketball. Yugoslavia went to the tournament with a very strong roster and had the likes of NBA All-Stars Vlade Divac, Peja Stojakovic and one of the best European players never to play in the NBA, Dejan Bodiroga. Yugoslavia was the reigning European and world champion, so it's no surprise that the World Cup matches played in Indianapolis drew huge crowds in Serbia. The tournament got even bigger for them when Yugoslavia beat the US, who had the likes of Reggie Miller and Paul Pierce, 81-78 in the quarterfinals. That was the moment, Guduric said. I was 7 years old. That was the moment I fell in love with basketball. As a kid, you were just proud and you go out and immediately play on the streets. Knocking the Americans down was great, but not the highlight of the tournament for Yugoslavia. They beat New Zealand in the semi-finals and Bodiroga's 27 points led them to a second consecutive world title with a win against Argentina. The celebrations back home in Serbia were, well, let's just say many enjoyed the victory. Guduric grew up in the remote mountain town of Priboj. Although basketball captured his heart, playing conditions could have been a lot better. Priboj only had one gym and you could never play there as a kid. The only option was to play outside, and that's exactly what Guduric did. When Guduric was 15, his family moved to the Serbian capital of Belgrade. He joined the youth system of one of the biggest clubs in the country, Crvena, with whom he signed his first professional contract a few weeks after his 18th birthday. Guduric played 2 seasons with the Zvezda's main team before he moved to Turkey, where he signed with the Fenerbahce in 2017. His minutes grew steadily, and in the 2018-19 EuroLeague season, he averaged 9.4 points on a 62.9% field goal shooting, which is exceptional for someone his size and position. His name was on the NBA radar, and on July 2019, it was announced that Guduric signed a 2-year deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. Chris Manning wrote in Forbes that Guduric is a smart, low-risk signing for the franchise. For one, the European wasn't expensive, as his deal was reportedly worth $5.3 million over 2 years, which was fully guaranteed. Manning liked that at 6'6", or at 198 centimeters, Guduric has the size to play as a guard in the NBA and maybe as a 3 in a small ball lineup. While 3-point shooting and craftiness with the ball helped him to get to the NBA, there were some question marks over his athleticism and defense. Guduric started efficiently for the Grizzlies. In his first 2 preseason games, the Serb scored 22 points on 10 of 15 shooting. He seemed like a nice fit with the head coach Taylor Jenkins' system, which encourages 3-point shooters to let it fly. Jenkins liked what he saw from Guduric. I think his body is getting adapted to how fast we want him to get up and down the floor. He's another guy who can help create for us. Pick and roll wise, you can just put the ball in his hands in the flow of the offense. Before starting his debut season with the Grizzlies, Guduric went to China to represent Serbia in the 2019 World Cup. Serbia was one of the favorites but lost in the quarterfinals against Argentina. They did get some consolation by beating the USA 94-89 in the next game and finally finished 5th thanks to beating the Czech Republic. Over 7 games, Guduric averaged just 5.6 points. A sign of caution for the Grizzlies? Maybe so, but one thing is certain. In hindsight, playing in the World Cup was a mistake for Guduric. In his first and last playing season with the Grizzlies, Guduric scored 3.9 points and grabbed 1.7 rebounds in the 44 games he appeared in. He did shoot very well from the free throw line, 92.3%, but his 3-point percentage dropped off a cliff compared to what he did in the Fenerbahce the season prior, as he only connected on 30% of his attempts from long range. That was not the kind of shooting Grizzlies wanted and needed from him. Obviously, as the 3-point lines are different in the NBA and Europe, being a good shooter doesn't always translate from the Europe to the NBA. Let's take Guduric's former teammate Nicolo Melli for example. The Italian also left Fenerbahce for the NBA in 2019, and while his 3-point percentage was a respectable 38.5 in the EuroLeague, he ended up as a 31% shooter in the NBA. Guduric did have some newsworthy moments in the NBA. In a preseason game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Guduric broke Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's ankles. Not literally of course, but he did send the Canadian to the floor with a crossover dribble followed by a between the legs dribble. In a regular season game between the Grizzlies and the New York Knicks, Knicks guard Elfrid Payton pushed Grizzlies forward Jay Crowder after he stole an inbound pass and shot a 3-pointer while the Grizzlies were leading by 18 points with 48 seconds to go. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Guduric left the bench during the altercation, although they didn't participate in the scuffle. Guduric was suspended for 1 game without pay. His career night came in November of 2019. Guduric scored 17 points, connecting a 4 of 6 from the 3-point line in a game the Grizzlies won by 2 against the Charlotte Hornets. It was the Serbs' second and final double-digit scoring night in the NBA. Although he remained on the roster for the 2021 season, Guduric was waived in December and returned to Fenerbahce. But what went wrong for Guduric in the NBA? Guduric himself pointed out 2 things. First, after coming back from the 2019 World Cup, he didn't have much time to prepare and adjust to the NBA type of game. Also, he admitted that he wasn't in a good shape coming off the World Cup held in China. Secondly, Guduric didn't manage to take his opportunity to play for the Grizzlies well enough. The coach decided to make some changes in the lineup and the roster of the team. He decided to put me out of the roster. We started playing well as a team, and from that point, he never changed the roster again. I never got the chance again. It's simple. That's life. Sometimes it's not all about you. I was working hard, trying to stay in shape, but I never got the chance back, he said. Thirdly, Guduric was pushed further down in the rotation after Grizzlies acquired guard Desmond Bane, who was drafted by the Boston Celtics. It was a sensible and obvious move for the Grizzlies to put a lot of effort into developing the talented American. Bane has grown into a very important player for the Grizzlies, averaging 21.5 points, 5 rebounds and 4.4 assists for them in the last NBA regular season. And finally, Guduric couldn't knock the 3-pointers at a good enough clip. A tad over 30% is not at all what you want from a deep rotation guy who was brought in to help the team's long-range shooting.